All right, let's jump right in. We're going to unpack a really powerful prophetic message today. It's all about a massive shift that it says is needed in how we approach faith. Basically, moving away from all that constant doing and getting back to just simple, quiet connection.
Wow, my people have been running on a treadmill of religious duty. That paints a picture, doesn't it? You can just feel the exhaustion in that phrase. It's all about motion without getting anywhere. And that really gets to the core idea here. You can be super, super busy for God, but at the same time feel totally disconnected from Him.
So yeah, this whole treadmill thing, it's framed as this huge conflict, right? It's like a choice you have to make between two completely different ways of living out your faith. Let's actually break down what those two paths look like.
And here they are, side by side. It's so clear. On one side, you've got performance. You know, it's all about the outward stuff. The noise, the chaos, always doing church, building up these big platforms. And it's rooted in pride and arrogance. But then you look at the other side, intimacy. That's all about just being with God. It's about silence, quiet, sitting at His feet. It's about humility and stillness. I mean, what a shift, right? It's moving from needing everyone else to see you to just cultivating that private, internal connection.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific. What exactly does this treadmill of religious duty really look like? You know, in day-to-day life.
Well, this is the real paradox, the tricky part. The message says you can be doing everything right on the outside. You can check every box, be at every service, volunteer for everything. But on the inside, your heart is just distant from God. It's that classic difference between just showing up and being truly present. And look, the source doesn't pull any punches. It gets really specific here, and it shows that this can apply to literally anyone. We're talking about good things, right? Going to church every week, reading your Bible, singing on the worship team, even being a pastor or heading up a school. These are amazing things, but here's the key. The message says that without that deep internal heart connection, all these great things can just become performance.
Okay, so if that's the problem, this whole performance trap, then what's the solution? Well, the message offers a very clear invitation, a call to get away from all that noise.
And here's that call. I am calling you out of the noise. I am drawing you into the quiet place. It's this intentional pull away from all the chaos, all the distractions of modern life, right? The notifications, the to-do lists that never end, and an invitation into a place of just quiet, a focus.
And this is so important. This isn't just another thing to add to your spiritual checklist. It's not about doing quiet time better or trying harder. The whole point is to actually stop doing for a minute and just learn how to be.
So you might be wondering, how does this big shift from performance to intimacy actually happen? Is it all on us? Well, the source describes it as something that's actively being done, a kind of divine intervention to make this whole thing possible.
The language here is really strong. It talks about dismantling the platforms built by pride. So you get this image of things being taken apart, structures that were built on ego, on human effort, on that need for everyone to see and recognize you.
And then right after that, it says what happens next. As those platforms are being dismantled, something else is happening. The ones who are being lifted up are the people who will just simply sit at His feet. The ones who choose humility, who don't need a stage or a spotlight.
And just to be clear, when we're talking about platforms, we're not just talking about a physical stage with a pulpit. No. This is about ministries that are built on pride. It's about those massive gatherings that look so impressive, but God's presence just isn't there. It's really about any structure where human ambition has kind of pushed God's direction out of the way.
But why? Why would all this dismantling happen? It sounds kind of intense. Well, the source is really clear that there's an ultimate goal. There's a reason for all of this.
And that reason is all about restoring your first love. So what is that? The source defines it as that initial spark, that hunger, that all-consuming desire to just be with God that so many people have when they first start their journey. And the idea is that in all the busyness and that treadmill of religious duty, that's the thing that gets lost.
So the promise here is one of restoration. It says that in that hidden, quiet place, your first love is being restored. And that's key. The quiet place isn't empty. It's the exact spot where that original connection can be found again. So the message is basically, don't be afraid of the silence. Lean into it. That's where you'll find me.
And this all boils down to something incredibly practical. I mean, think about it. The song stops. The last verse is read.
The instruments go quiet. What do we usually do? We rush to the next thing. But the invitation here is don't. Just sit, wait, find. It's in that moment of stillness, after all the performance is over, that you can actually find him.
So this really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? We live in a world that is all about performance, all about noise, about being seen. So in an age like this, where do we even find that quiet place? And maybe more importantly, what might we discover if we actually take the time to go there?